Today we're doing a deep dive into a really volatile part of the Peruvian Amazon. It's become this flashpoint.
It really has. You've got three huge forces just colliding there. There are these ancient, isolated tribes. You've got massive conservation efforts, and then this brutal drug war that's just escalating.
Exactly. And our sources for this are centered on the work of a conservationist, Paul Rosolie, and his group, Jungle Keepers.
Right. And what they're doing is, it's just incredible. They've already protected over 130,000 acres of pure rainforests.
But the goal is even bigger. They're trying to secure another 200,000.
And this is where it gets so dangerous, because it's not just about saving trees anymore. It's a full-on battle to protect some of the last uncontacted peoples on Earth from, well, the cocaine mafia.
And that human element is what's so gripping. We're talking about the Mashco Piro, one of the last isolated groups in the world.
Sometimes they call themselves the Namols. It means the brothers.
Which is, yeah.
Oh.
And the tension is just ratcheting up because they're starting to come out of the jungle. They're making contact.
And sometimes that contact is just curiosity. Other times, it's deadly.
To really get a handle on the Mashco Piro, you have to sort of look back in time.
Thousands of years. We are talking about a nomadic people with zero modern technology. And anthropologists who studied them said they don't use metal, they don't make clay pots.
And get this, they don't know that water boils or that it freezes.
It's like looking at a Stone Age culture right here, right now.
But that isolation, that simplicity, doesn't mean they're weak. It's actually the opposite.
No, it means they have to be incredibly skilled. Their main weapon is this 7-foot-long arrow.
With a bamboo tip.
A bamboo tip, yeah, that they cure over a fire and sharpen until it's described as knife sharp. They can supposedly hit a spider monkey out of the treetops from 40 meters away.
That's just incredible accuracy.
And you have to understand the history that shapes why they're so defensive. Their first contacts with the outside world missionaries, the rubber barons, back in the 19th century, it was all just violence and disease for them.
So the lesson their ancestors learned was pretty clear.
Brutally clear. When the outside world comes, you shoot first. It's a survival tactic, born out of trauma.
And we see that playing out right now. The source material we have opens with this incident from August 2024.
It's awful. 2 loggers were killed by Mashco Piro warriors.
And the trigger. The loggers cut down a massive, ancient ironwood tree. These things can be over 1,000 years old.
For the tribe, cutting down a tree that big it's more than just logging. The sources say it's offensive on an almost religious level, a spiritual, existential level.
They see people who do that as destroyers of worlds.
And that's the lens for everything that happened next. Just 2 months later, in October 2024, the Jungle Keepers start getting these frantic calls.
From local indigenous communities who are terrified.
Yeah, saying the Mashco Piro are coming out of the forest, gathering on the riverbanks.
So the team just drops everything.
Everything. They cancel all their meetings because they're afraid of another violent clash. They try to do a 2-day boat journey in a single night.
And the weather was terrible.
Oh, just a nightmare. A lightning storm, high winds, rain so cold they were worried about hypothermia. And it was pitch black. The only way they could navigate the river was by catching the reflection of caiman eyes on the banks.
So given how volatile this is, how did they even plan to make contact? What was the protocol?
Well, they had one huge advantage. An indigenous anthropologist named Ramel. He'd made peaceful contact before.
So he was the key.
He was the key. When they finally arrived, the scene is just unbelievably tense. You've got maybe 50 Mashco Piro warriors walking down the beach.
All holding their 7-foot bows.
Pointed right at them, and the 26 locals are there, terrified, loading shotgun shells, preparing for a massacre.
And Rommel just walks out.
Walks out alone to the edge of the water. He starts speaking in the Yain language, and he keeps using that word, Nomal, brother.
Just saying, brother, brother, asking them to lower their weapons.
But the tribe was playing a much smarter game. The whole standoff on the beach, it was a diversion.
What do you mean?
While all the men were on the beach, keeping everyone's attention, the women of the tribe had circled around behind the camp.
No way.
Silently. And they were raiding the farm, ripping yucca from the ground, taking banana plants. The team suddenly realized they were surrounded, outnumbered at least 5-1.
Wow. So the whole peaceful encounter was cover for a supply run.
A very necessary one for them, yeah.
Right.
But the conversation that happened it was profound. The tribe started asking these huge questions, like,
Right.
How do we tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys? And why are you cutting down the trees?
direct questions about the conflict.
So the conservationists gave them this huge offering of plantains and ropes. And it's interesting, the Mashco Piro were already wearing bits of modern nylon paracord they'd obviously taken from logging camps. They know it's useful.
But that moment of peace,
Yeah.
it didn't last.
It shattered. The very next day, a local guy named George is driving his boat upriver. Suddenly, like 200 tribe members just rush out of the jungle.
200.
And they just open fire with arrows. George gets hit. A 7-foot arrow goes in above his shoulder blade and comes out near his belly button.
Oh my God. Did he survive?
Barely. It just drove home the point that every single interaction out there is a total gamble, life or death.
And that kind of instability, it creates a vacuum. It's
Yeah.
the perfect environment for organized crime to move in.
And that's the big shift. The threat used to be illegal loggers, local guys who were often just desperate. Now it's the narcos.
The cocaine mafia.
And they are flooding into this basin. This is a full-scale drug war now. Rosolie and his partner, JJ, they're actually being hunted. The narcos put a hit out on them.
Why? What did they do?
Rosolie used a drone to scout one of their illegal clearings, so they started calling him the Gringo Volador, the flying gringo.
And the violence from these guys is on another level.
Completely. There was a police officer who had just saved the jungle keepers in a high-speed boat chase. The narcos tracked him down, did a drive-by, killed him instantly with a shotgun to the chest.
This isn't random, it's targeted.
It's a cartel eliminating threats. And their strategy for taking over the jungle is, it's insidious. They go to the poorest locals and pay them to clear land.
Saying it's for farming.
Exactly, for subsistence farming. But once the land is cleared, the narcos just move in and convert it to coca production and safe houses.
But how do they hide all this? I mean, we're talking about airstrips. Surely satellites would pick that up.
That's the terrifying genius of it. They find areas where the canopy of these giant 160-foot trees meets overhead. They clear everything on the ground underneath the canopy.
So they leave the roof.
They leave the roof intact. From a satellite, from a plane, all you see is unbroken jungle. But underneath, they have hidden runways to fly drugs and people in and out.
And it's not just drugs. The sources mention human trafficking as well.
Yes. They steal young girls from the indigenous communities to serve the men who are working these remote coca farms. It's just horrifying.
It's an ecological and a humanitarian disaster.
And it makes you wonder, if these cartels, with all their guns and brutality, make contact with the Mashco Piro, they're not going to show up with bananas.
No, they'll be met with overwhelming force. And that's why this mission is so urgent. That $20 million the jungle keepers need. It's to buy the legal titles to that remaining 200,000 acres.
To protect the very land the tribes need to stay isolated. It's a race to protect isolation itself.
Okay, so after all that, the violence, the narcos, the destruction, let's talk about what's actually at stake here, what they're fighting to protect.
Right, because the Amazon is it's a world of wonders, and we can see that in how the Mashco Piro themselves survive.
We know a bit about their diet, right?
We do, from their abandoned camps. They eat a lot of monkeys, turtles, turtle eggs, some smaller game. But the crucial thing is they have to cook their meat.
Because of parasites.
The parasite load in the tropics is immense. Without modern medicine, cooking meat thoroughly is one of their only defenses. It just shows you how hard survival is.
And the animals they live among are just mythical.
Totally. Rosolie tells this story about encountering a 19-foot blue-eyed green anaconda. He nicknamed her Millie.
19 feet, that's like a dragon.
It really is. But what's so fascinating is that even a creature that powerful, an apex predator, its first instinct is always flight over fight.
He doesn't want a confrontation.
Not at all. But when they tried to move her for a study, she just flexed her body, and the force sent 10 grown men flying. It's a reminder of the raw power out there.
And there's another animal that's directly tied to this threat of logging, the macaws.
These beautiful monogamous birds, their entire survival depends on those ancient ironwood trees, the ones the loggers and narcos are cutting down.
How so?
They only nest in specific cavities that form in trees that are over 500 years old. It happens when a huge branch breaks off, leaving a hollow.
So it's a very limited resource.
Incredibly limited. So only about 17 to 20% of the macaw population can even breed in a given year. When you cut down one of those giants, you might be destroying a nesting site that's been used for hundreds of years.
But the most incredible site, the one Rosolie talks about, you have to get above it all.
Yeah, he describes this hour-long vertical climb up a 160-foot ironwood tree in the dark, dodging venomous snakes and wasp nests on the way up.
And what he saw from the top.
He called it the Mist River. It's not a real river. It's this current of moisture that flows over the top of the canopy at dawn. As the sun rises, its rays hit this mist, and it just lights up in these golden, swirling currents above the jungle.
He said looking down on it was like seeing a monstrous leviathan of warm green might.
And in that moment, he said he felt this wave of guilt, that he was the only one seeing this unbelievable beauty. And that's the motivation, right? To protect this place the world needs to know exists.
So when you tie it all together, the tribe, the violence, the sheer beauty, the mission becomes so clear.
It really does. Rosalie says this is a chance to undo all the injustices of the past by just protecting this tribe that wants one thing.
To be left alone.
Just to be left alone. It's a fight against, as he puts it, global economic entropy and human apathy.
And he credits his mentor, Jane Goodall, for the motivation to keep fighting.
He does. She taught him that apathy is a poison peddled by the darkness, and that you have to fight it with conviction and passion and fire and hope.
That contact with the Mashko Piro really does put our own world in perspective, doesn't it?
Oh, completely. When you meet people who don't know that water boils, you realize that your iPhone, your camera, it's literal magic to them. It really shows you how incredibly privileged we are.
Which brings us to our final thought. Rosalie mentioned that during that peaceful encounter, the warriors were looking very closely at their gear.
He said they were shopping, looking at backpacks, watches, flashlights.
So, for you listening, consider this. Knowing the tribe sees outsiders as destroyers of worlds, but also seeing the power of the technology we have.
Yeah.
What do you think they truly value in that moment? Is it the simple tools like a machete or a bit of nylon rope? Or is it the possibility of peace, the chance for separation that the conservationists were trying to offer? That's the question at the heart of this entire story.